morning.
Hey, good morning. The sun's shining.
I know. You're having a lovely green day.
Yes, I
I love green.
decided I think we need some colour.
Yeah, I love green. It's my favourite colour.
Really?
Yeah,
What kind
green
of
and
green?
green and yellow. It depends, but mostly
Oh,
green.
I love yellow. I can't wear yellow. It doesn't do anything for me, but I love
Wow.
the colour.
Yeah. No, I
Oh,
don't
I want
mind
to show
yellow.
you something. Hold on. If
Oh
you love
yes.
yellow.
Is it going to be a new pot? Oh no. Oh.
Maybe. I don't know if the colour will show up.
Oh, it doesn't show up as well as it should probably. Oh, that is a pot though. Did you make that?
Yeah, I made it. It was a flop. It was supposed to be tall and the bottom sagged and it ripped and I had to stitch it, but it's beautiful. I love the shape.
I love it too. I
Yeah.
love it.
It's actually my favorite piece, but the yellow, oh my God, Shirley, I wish you could see it. The yellow is unbelievably bright and luscious and beautiful.
Oh, I love it. I love the color and I love the shape. I think it's gorgeous. That could be your signature style.
Yes. big bottomed flopped pots.
I want one. I put my name down.
I know. I get so many comments, and it's going to keep on happening for a while because I make the bottom too thin. I need to leave more so that it can bulb out, and then of course it just sags down on its own weight. But it's a beautiful accident, or whatever it's called.
I think you should keep on making that accident.
Thank you. Congratulations on 300 podcasts. I mean, that's amazing.
I know. I only found out because if you heard the podcast, I was faffing around with.
I didn't listen to it. I just saw the tag.
Yeah. I got distracted yesterday. I was faffing around with something that connects up my podcast with something else, and it said I'd done 299 episodes yesterday, and I thought, oh crikey, that's a lot.
That's pretty impressive. In what time span?
Under a year.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've done one every single day except for Christmas. I took a few days off at Christmas.
Wow, that's commitment.
Yes. Well, it was a commitment. It was a commitment. So when we went into lockdown last year, we were all kind of going, oh, what do I do with my business? And I did this little mini course. It was very intensive, about reskilling myself online. And one of the things that kind of came up was do something that feels right for you. Either do a video every day or do a blog every day or a podcast. And I thought, I don't want to do video. And even though I now do, but at the time I was like, I don't want to do that. Blog, that seemed like hard work because I'm writing the book anyway, so I didn't want to do more writing. So podcast, I can talk.
Yeah, and you can do it in your pajamas with your hair not done, and it doesn't matter. That's a huge achievement, and I really hope that you do celebrate it and mark it.
Yes, I will. Yeah,
but we always have to celebrate the achievements and the victories. That's a great achievement.
Yeah, but I want you and the people in the group. I'm going to use it as a little offer, I think. But I don't want you to miss out because you're already in. So I'll think up something nice that I can maybe. I have no idea what it is right now. So we'll think of something nice.
Lovely.
Right. So I loved the dream. But that's what dreams do, isn't it?
Honestly, it was life-changing. If I could just remember, it would be like this huge, I just can't for the life of me think what it was. I was lying in bed and I was mulling it over, the question. And then I must have fallen asleep, and I had this huge revelation, and it was on point and it made sense. And I thought, oh my God, yes, that's it. And then carried on sleeping. Woke up in the morning. And I still can't remember what this great ta-da was.
I know, but it'll be there.
Yeah, I hope so.
It will be the fact that you had the dream. It will be just without you realizing it. It will be subtly feeding into your day, and informing you, and then it will come back in a conscious moment.
But it did make me laugh because you know that's menopause.
I know.
I can't remember anything.
I don't think that remembering thing, you know, I haven't noticed a huge improvement. I think you just laugh more about it instead.
I think you laugh more and you accept it more, and I bring it into my work, my talks. You know, I lose track, and then I don't even lose track of the word, and it comes back to me. The entire sentence or what I'm talking about doesn't come back to me, and I have to ask to be reminded. And I just hold up my hand and say menopause. I have no problem doing that.
And I think that's absolutely the right thing to do. It's not what happens, it's how we handle what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's interesting, other people's expressions and faces. It's quite cringeworthy for some people when I, you know, doing my talk or workshop and I say the menopause thing. So some people might chuckle and laugh. Maybe the people that it applies to, the younger generation, it's a bit like icky. Do you mean talking about things like that? And they don't really know what it is. They just know you're not supposed to really talk about it, probably. So it's quite interesting to see. Nobody says anything, but obviously because I can see people on the screen, you can see their kind of little embarrassed reactions, which is interesting, which is sweet. I think it's because they're young.
That is interesting. And just an aside, there's a big conference every year that's for young women. It's called Aspire, and I think last year, maybe year before, they put a call out for speakers to submit. You know, do you want to talk? And you don't automatically get it. You just have to pitch. And I've done it before, and they've gone, no, thank you. Interestingly, when I was focused on that age group, and this year they sent me the invite, and I thought, oh, it's not really my thing now. Much as I'd like to do it, I don't really have the time. And I declined. I said, no, you know, I won't be putting anything in. But then last night I was thinking, partly because of something someone put on my Instagram post, but connecting that, and I've often said this, connecting adolescence with menopause, there's a lot of synergy and links. And I suddenly thought, interesting, because maybe we should be telling young women about menopause, which you're right, they think, that's my mother, you know, that's not me.
Yeah, that's all they think is mom or granny or aunt, and they don't know what it is.
No, but if we were better prepared and we knew what was at stake, like potentially the loss of our career, the loss of our income, the loss of our self-esteem, if we knew that's what might be coming, then we could take better steps.
Yes.
To plan.
Definitely. I think I would have liked to have known about it. It was never, like for most women, it was never discussed at home. My mum says she did have a hysterectomy. That made her feel better. She really struggled with the menopause, but nobody said it out loud. I mean, she'd always struggled on and off with different things. So, you know, I didn't know what it was related to. And then my sister, who's 6 years older than me, hers seemed to happen. She gave birth to her first and only child the day before she turned 46.
Wow.
And then breastfed for like 5,000 years after that. And during those 5,000 years, she somehow also went through the menopause. And her doctor said to her that maybe that's why I didn't even touch the side. She was so busy breastfeeding. That it kind of came. And she has nothing of what I have. And, you know, we're from the same family, same mom and dad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a thumbprint. It's not, it's unique for all of us.
But it is something that should be spoken about more. And I remember reading in the, I don't know where I got the information, a few years ago, the Met Police were having somebody come in to speak to both the male and the female colleagues about menopause and how it affects, you know, so that, I mean, the women know how it affects them, but the men that they work with don't know how it affects them. And I think it really should be an education on both sides. Yes, we need to know what's coming, and maybe that's for the younger generation. But without a doubt, men and the workplace. And I, you know, I did my degree very late. I was 44 when I went to university, and perimenopause was just kicking in. And having to do a full-on degree when you can't remember stuff and you can't concentrate.
Yeah.
You know, I remember going to see, I was struggling one year, and I went and saw the student mental health advisor or whatever. And I said to him, basically, you've got this list of, or you can say I'm depressed or suicidal, or
Yes.
I've got, you know, I'm bipolar. I said, but where's the tick box for menopause? I said, this is a real thing. I wanted extra time. I wanted to be given the same advantage, not advantages, but the same, I don't know what the word is, for the other concessions than the other people with mental health issues were getting, because that's how real it was. It was really hard doing that degree, full-blown perimenopause.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is completely aside, because I want to come back, because this is your session, and it's
I
not
know,
always
we
want to
can
chat,
just
but I
chat
want you
forever.
at some point, if you're up for it, you know, why we could do a podcast with you if you're up for it. If you want, because I think,
yeah, definitely, I'd be happy. I want to shout menopause from the rooftops, and it is becoming more and more less stigmatized. You know, just like mental health is, people are talking about it more. And like I said, the police, this was a few years ago, and they were bringing in people to speak, hopefully women and not men, bringing in women to speak about it. So it is on the, it's on the radar, but it's not on the rise, really, awareness. But yes,
no.
I'd be up for that.
Cool. Well, we'll organise that at some point.
She says very nonchalantly, you know, because I can't say nonchalant, and I can't, and I've never been on a podcast before, but you know, as long as you don't ask me to say specificity.
I think I might, just for the fun of it.
Let's start today's podcast with all the words you can't say: nonchalantly and specificity.
I'll tell you what I found hard to say yesterday. It was podcast guest. If you say that, podcast guest.
Oh yes, I would really have to pronounce it when I say it.
Very difficult. Very difficult. Anyway, what's going on? So you've been back to the garden centre this week?
Yes, I was going to go back on Wednesday anyway, but just for Wednesday and the weekend. And then my boss said that the big boss told me furlough is over.
Ooh. And
I can come back. So that's great. I'm back to 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Thursdays, and alternate weekends. It is busy. The season has definitely started. You would not think that it's lockdown, Shirley. There were so many people yesterday and the day before. A lot of older people. So I think those that have had their jabs, possibly. There were a lot more elderly people, but the car park was full, which it hadn't been up until this week. So something about Boris's announcement on Monday just opened the floodgates. And then also for me, the work has changed. We're getting loads of deliveries in. They call Danish trolleys. You get these huge trolleys with like maybe 12 or 8 stacks of shelves, plants on every shelf. You've got to pull them from the yard to where the plant section is. They're very heavy. Of course, that's Amazon decided. Shirley's on the line. Let me ring the bell. All right. So yeah, it's become very physical, which is what it was like in March last year when I started. But beautiful, got so many lovely, beautiful plants in, and they've extended the back of the garden centre where the hardy plants are. So it goes back really far, and it's a very beautiful garden centre. It's one of the top, I don't know, 5 or something in the country, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was super busy learning new things. I had to scan in the trolleys and updates on the system, which I don't mind doing so much. I like being outside. I like being outdoors. The sunset was amazing last night. And of course, because it's all open, you've got all the trees and the laurels and the bushes and everything. And then you've got this beautiful sky and sunset, you know, and you get to see that every day. And because it's lighter now, by the time we leave, the sunset, you know, it's happening. So we're getting to see it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be back, and I've recommitted, because sometimes the issue with only doing part-time there and doing part-time occupational therapy is that, and it has been like that I don't necessarily commit, because everything's part-time. I don't have to give it all my energy. And like with the garden centre, because I don't want to get caught up in the day-to-day runnings and the sort of office mentality of it. I just want to do my job and go home. But I'm prepared now to take on more responsibility and be more involved. But I'm going to be quite firm that I still just want to do 2 days a week, because I know they're going to push me for 3, because it's very busy. The season's busy. But 3 is a lot. It's very physical. And what it does for most of us during the season is you're too tired to do anything else on the days that you have free, on the days that you're off, because you're on your feet all day. And it's very physical. But I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, nice.
And it's been a year, you know. I only took the job last year. It was supposed to be seasonal, started in March, and then we went into lockdown, and it was crazily busy, and I was grateful to have a job. And London, you know, all my work in London dried up overnight. And I was grateful to have it. And then in July, they said, do I want to stay on? And COVID was still happening. And I said yes. And here I am a year later. So it was never supposed to be long term.
No.
But I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, it's a lovely contrast. And it's almost like you're getting paid to do your exercise and be in the fresh air, isn't it?
That is it. That is really it. I mean, you know, it's stressful with the people and stuff like that, and you're super busy. But at the end of the day, I'm outside. In summer, I'll be wearing shorts again. I get so brown in the summer, and nature is my church. That's what, if I had to choose one thing that is going to make me feel better and where I would rather be, it's going to be in nature.
I love that.
That's it for me.
So let's come back to your scale. Where is that?
I want to say I'm feeling like more like even more than 8.5, but then I think maybe I'm just running too quickly. I'm getting too excited. Maybe I should slow down.
Yeah, don't get too excited. Doing that.
No, we wouldn't want anyone to get excited now, would we?
No. You don't do excitement. I'm sorry. You've come to the wrong place.
But I am feeling good, and it definitely is having that in the back of my mind. What does an 8 feel like? Now I'm thinking of 9s. What would a 9 feel like? How would you behave if you were a 9? What would you say if you were a 9? And that's kind of just subconsciously ticking around at the back. I haven't had time yet this week to sit down and maybe make a note of it. And I think I'd like to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put it down on paper, but it's definitely ticking over in the background.
Yeah. So with it ticking over in the background, just tapping into the first thought, what kind of thoughts pop in?
Jesus, relax. I don't know how to describe it, and I only started making a note of it today. It's about accountability and holding myself accountable for what I do. And I don't know what I mean. I don't know what I mean by it. I just know there's something in the word of accountability that I have, and commitment that I have to look into. And that has got something to do with the 9. And just off the top of my head, I think I haven't always ever gone for something 100% because of fear of failure. Whereas if I don't try that hard and it doesn't work out that well, then I have an excuse and I can say, well, I didn't really put. And I think last week's talk has brought this up again, because I was excited about the subject and I kind of felt like I knew what I wanted to talk about. And I did. I did all those things, but I wasn't prepared like I didn't do the preparation like I did for the previous one. And I didn't practice at all, because I'm feeling confident in myself that I can be informal and I can ad-lib and just talk. And I know I can do those things, but it was a bit windy around the houses. And because it's a 1-hour talk, I think I should have laid out little stones of markers of where to go. And so, I wrote down, how do I feel about the talk? And I wrote, it was a success. And I thought, well, what makes it a success? And I thought, well, it wasn't necessarily. Maybe it was a success in that I did it. So because public speaking was always my greatest fear. It's only up until 3 years ago, I would never have done this. It's been my greatest fear my entire life. So it is a success that I did it. But if I'm really honest with myself, it could have been better, and I could have been prepared, I could have been practiced. But what's amazing about acknowledging that to myself is that I'm not beating myself up about it. Whereas in the past, that would be, oh, well, this means I should never do it. Now I'm kind of got my big girl pants on and I'm just thinking, well, I'm accountable. And so next time you bloody practice and you prepare and you do better. And that is there's something different in that, because before I would just think, oh, it doesn't matter and I can't do it anyway. Whereas now I'm prepared to fail and to know that it doesn't mean I'm worth less, I suppose. I haven't got my worth tied up in whether I give a good workshop or talk.
I love that. I mean,
that's huge. This is all new. I just wrote down a couple of things this morning before
you've completely switched from a fixed mindset into a growth mindset.
How the fuck did that happen? That's amazing.
Well, who knows? Who cares? But
it's you the last 5 weeks or however long we've been doing this. You're asking all the right questions.
I know, because a couple of weeks ago when you were doing a talk, do you remember I said, okay, focus on what you did right instead of what you did wrong. You switched what you looked at. Whether that was or wasn't a key element doesn't really matter, but I think it is important and maybe that has shifted your perspective. So now you can, as you just did, you recounted what happened in the talk this week, and you were good at being very balanced about the way you recounted it. You said, well, on the positive side, I was able to ad-lib and be informal. You were recognizing the strengths that you brought to it, but you were also recognizing that there are other strengths I have that I maybe didn't bring to it that I could next time. And that whole, you know, I'm not tying myself up to, it's not about me, my self-worth. It's
well, that's what I'm realizing. I want to write this down, fixed mindset too. That's what I think I'm just realizing. Hang on. That it's not tied up in my worth. I think my whole life, and I know all the reasons behind it. I've always made everything very personal and a criticism about me. So if something went wrong, it's because something is inherently flawed in me. Not because I didn't have the right training, or I didn't prepare enough, or I didn't practice, or I didn't gather the information I needed. It was a fault somehow in me. And now, and I have recognized it over the years. This isn't totally new, but it's the first time that it is settling and resonating. And I've gone from, I don't know, that hope to knowing, or something to, I don't know, I've gone from something to the knowing.
Nice.
It's been in the back of my mind the last few days, but I didn't have time to think about it. I didn't know what it was. I'm glad we're talking about now, because I actually wrote in my journal this morning, I said accountability. I said, I don't know what this means. I'll have to look into it, because I'm not sure what it is I'm talking about, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's a really nice place to be. And again, that's that pyramid that you speak about, that the bottom is solid regardless what happens on the top. So, you know, I could do a series of shit workshops and talks, and all it would mean is they were shit and I wasn't prepared and practiced. That's it. Take the emotion out of it. Whereas it doesn't mean anything about the me, who is me.
No.
That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome, because when you've got that kind of solidity, you know, that ground swell of you-ness, it's not just about an event not necessarily going well. It also means that other people, because we all come across them, who maybe want to pull you down and make you think it is you, won't have the same impact either.
Yes. Yeah, you kind of I think as long as if you know who you are and you're doing it from the right place, and you know all the other things, then it doesn't really matter what people say.
No.
Although it's hard to discount what other people think and say. I mean, I went through a few days, you know, I didn't get any emails back saying, oh, that was great. And then I remembered, but they never do that after any of the talks anyway. So I mean, I might speak to them and she'll say, oh, that was great, and we want to book the next one. But the girl who did the overall looking after me on Tuesday, she was covering for somebody else. Anyway, long story, but even that could have set me off. And I thought, well, I know I didn't do my best, but it doesn't mean I'm a terrible person. And it's a good lesson. I think that's what it is looking at the lessons.
Yeah.
And I wrote in my diary, I said, I don't want to feel like that again, because I was floundering as I was speaking a bit, because I wasn't very secure in where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't want to feel like that again. So I'm definitely going to practice.
That's really good. That's really good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if this helps for you, but it's something that my coach has taught me, and I find it really helpful as well, because there will also be days that, you know, you do the prep, you do all the things that you know will make it its best, and it still might not, you know, just be a day that, oh, it's kind of fell a bit flat for whatever reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the example he uses for me, you kind of need to find your right sport here, but football, he says, football, you know, a team will go into a match and they've got to think about a whole season, because if they allow a single loss of a game and they take that feeling of failure into the next game, they're sunk.
It's like a dominoes effect. It'll just affect the next one, the next one.
Exactly. So you just have to go, okay, that you just park it, isolate it, take what you can from it, learn what you can from it, and then it's gone. It's next. It's gone.
And I love that. And I mean, if you read about failure and success, you know, all the people who are successful that had to go through all their failures, they all say the same thing. You park it, you look into it, you take what you need from it, and then you let it go, because it doesn't serve you going forward.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I think what I really like about that way of looking at it is that to keep your mind on the end game, because when we get sucked into something that doesn't feel good, you know, we expand it and turn it into something huge, and we kind of get lost in the middle of it. Whereas if we can switch into, oh no, this is just one little bit.
Yeah, bigger picture. This is just one little bit of what I'm going to be doing. Yeah.
Then suddenly that can help you come out of whatever it is, but you're not.
That's quite nice. That takes the sting out of it, and it makes it almost unimportant in a way, but not really, because we know that all those little small steps get you to where you want to be. So it is remembering that as well. And I suppose the problem would be if you kept on messing up the whole time and not learning anything and not adapting and changing, then that eventually,
that's
I'm thinking too much about it. But I think I get that if you just see it as one little blip, it shouldn't affect and dilute everything else you're doing.
No, absolutely. And just going back to reinforce the thing about, I just want, because we like repetition, don't we?
Yes.
That whole repeating it and not improving from it can come from what we talked about before, which is keeping the focus on what didn't work and what went wrong, so that we keep ourselves stuck. Whereas the way to break through that is always to go, but what did I do right? Let me put my focus there.
What if, And I really like that. I think that's been the biggest game changer of all the work we've done is where you put your focus. I've never been sort of taught that before. I've never really thought about that before. And that takes a conscious effort and mindset, because our focus, you know, my focus has always just been down the rabbit hole because it's so easy to do. So to consciously, in your body and in your words and in your feeling, put your focus elsewhere and lead. I'm thinking of leading your brain like on a leash behind me. We're going, this is where the focus is, and that's where we're going. And I like that.
I love the fact that you talk, because it gives me so much stuff. The hardest people for me to work with are people that don't talk a lot, which is usually men.
Oh my goodness. Do you know, I had a client a couple of years ago, architect from one of the practices. It was like pulling teeth and I just came to dread them. And then we finished, because I thought he was quite happy to keep on chatting to me once a week for the rest of his life, because then he could just offload. And we came to an end, and then they asked me, I remember 6 months, 8 months later, you know, if I could do some more work with him. And I said I would, but for a short period, because I knew he was just, he wasn't going to get anywhere with me. I'm not what he needs. I'm an occupational therapist, you know, I'm not a therapist, but oh my God, it's like drawing blood from a stone. So hard when people don't talk.
It's awful. It's awful. Well, because they want you to do the work. It doesn't occur to them that they have to do anything.
And you have to, and that's when I became comfortable with silences, because in the beginning I would just speak because he would be sitting there and I would just sit, just wait for him, you know, I'd ask something and I'd just wait, and he would eventually talk. But yeah, they want you to do the work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, you won't have that problem with me.
I won't, and it's lovely. I love that. I just wanted to share something with you that occurred to me, whether this is valid for you or not. Just when you went off to get the parcel, you know, you talked about your dream. I suddenly thought I was a big fan of John Lennon when I was in my teens. And of course, there was a song called Number 9 Dream, wasn't there? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, there was a song called Number 9 Dream. And I just suddenly thought, oh, there's a song.
Do you know what? I'm going to look that up, because maybe what I need is in that dream.
You never know.
You never know. Oh my Lord, I'm going to look that up and play it today.
Did you like John Lennon? Because you might hate it if you didn't.
Oh no, I did. I very much did as a young girl growing up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You'll like it then. Good. Oh, you'll like it. Yeah. Right. Do you want to get yourself comfortable then? I noticed the dogs had, I don't know if they're still there. They had kind of got themselves settled a little while back.
Yeah, no, they've gone away, and who knows what's going to happen next.
Here they come. They'll be, a minute you sit there, they'll be in. They'll hear the change in my voice. Right. Yeah, okay, cool. So get yourself comfortable and close your eyes, which you've already done.
Oh yes, here we go. Come on, Jesus.
Are they coming?
Yep.
They just know, don't they?
Simmons, come. You might as well come now. And you might as well get underneath. Come on, let's go. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're settled.
We're all settled. We're all settled. Okay, that's good. Right. Let me just grab a quick sip. So as you all settle down, really enjoying the beautiful spot that chair is in, where you catch the morning light and the sun is streaming through the window and casting a cascade of brightness and lightness and warmth across the top half of your body. And as you have your eyes closed, you sense the colours in the light. Perhaps the colours shift, maybe white or red or orange, allowing the light to filter through, perhaps yellow, maybe the yellow of the pot. Beautiful colours, maybe kaleidoscopic, maybe no colour at all, maybe just the wonderful sensation of the feeling of the light. So many interpretations for light, revelations associated with light. That wonderful yes moment when the sun appears and the light unfolds. At the opening of the day at sunrise, and the light drifts in, arriving sometimes with a magnificent celebration and sometimes quietly just arriving. The sun on the rise, there just on the radar. Or sometimes the light is more dazzling and more spectacular and more revelationary at sunrise as it sets and goes out in a blaze of glory, and the light and the colour lights up from the inside to the outside, and the connection with nature, which is your church. And you find yourself there, worshipping in this space, in the light, perhaps gazing out across trees and laurels, and the dance of light created by nature, and the shadows and the light between the shadows and the shadows between the light, in the open or wandering through dappled light, enjoying the contrast of shade and light, learning new things as you move through, choosing moments to settle in the cool of the shade where the light is muted and soft, and other moments where you're happy to be back in the light, ticking over or celebrating, appreciating those yes moments of revelation and focus, leading your brain, knowing that this is where you're going, you're in charge. Moving from hope to knowing, and increasing awareness on the rise, opening the floodgates of knowingness, even when there is no knowing what the knowingness is. Learning new things. And this journey through the dappled light and the sun and the shade is personal. And you know when to rest and settle for a moment, to allow the learning to resonate. And there on the radar is not just the light, but the sound as you quieten in the light and the open, and the sound alters in the light, resonates differently. Allow yourself to be in the light, settling, discovering your personal preference in this church of nature. Let go of anything that no longer serves you as you go forwards, secure in your own worth, taking with you what you choose to take with you. And those core parts of your being that hold you accountable to you and no one but you, you commit to now and tomorrow, and prepare so that this core of accountability, this you-ness, is your nature, ticking over in the background, and yet the engine, the wind beneath your wings, to use the phrase of an old song. In this space, whether you are wandering through the dappled light, resting in the shade, or embracing the fullness of the sunshine and the light, allows you to be 100% yourself. And maybe you allow your gaze to just settle on a point in the horizon and notice a haze of awareness, not quite sure to begin with, but increasingly aware of something taking shape and form. A number in the foreground appears to be a 9. And there, somewhere behind it, a little closer to the horizon, is the distant form of a 10, but the 9 is closer. And the distance between you and it is growing shorter. There is open space that you can lead your brain into, focused on where you're going. Yes, this is what's on the radar. And on the rise is the number 9 with the number 10 there, taking shape and form somewhere there behind. But for now, you lead yourself and your brain focused on the 9. This is where you're going. And you long since took the sting out of all the things that held you back. That hope brought you here to knowing, to recommitting, to involvement in yourself, your life, happy to be back with you. You never left. You've always been there, serving you, there in your nature, ticking over in the background, always there. But now, resonating there in the open, there in the light, heard and seen, there open to learning, open the floodgates of joy and nature, and committing to yourself, prepared now for what life brings you. But then perhaps realizing that you bring life to you. No longer waiting, no longer just settling, but resonating. Your worth, your security, everything you ever sought, you find now. That horizon that you wander to is a point within you. And your imagination takes you way beyond the confines, the old restrictive constraints of the old thoughts that held you back, that were never yours, but someone else's. And the revelation, the yes, the focus on this is where you're going, you're leading, is on the rise, and the floodgates are open. And you learn new things about yourself each and every day, moving forwards into the open, recommitting, involved, happy, so happy to be back. And this is for the long term, for the whole of your future. You are back, happy to be accountable and committed to yourself, prepared for what comes, for you create what comes now. And sometimes those things that seem to go awry turn out to be happy accidents. Sometimes when you just allow yourself to let go of one moment, another appears with even more brightness and resonance. And maybe that pot, that beautiful yellow pot in its vibrancy and color and richness and light, an accidental shape that's so exquisite, can serve as a reminder to embrace and celebrate the happy accidents that turn out sometimes to be better than the plan. So you know when to plan and when to be light about the planning. Realizing what the point is more frequently. Your sense of self-belief on the rise, the floodgates open, recommitted and involved. Allowing yourself to be true to your nature, allowing the light to shed more light on the trueness of you, ticking over in the background, always there, serving you. Letting go of anything that no longer serves you, never did, enjoying your strengths of informality, your ability to go with a flow, to ad lib, but also to recognize your strength now, growing, expanding, to lay out the markers of where you go. Your brain follows. You lay out the markers, you lead, you decide where to go, where to focus. And you allow yourself to bask and celebrate in the nature of you. You are on the rise. So allow yourself now to bask a little in the number 9 dream, which is your dream. and go where your mind takes you. You are leading by letting go, leading by not leading, leading by being, allowing the chorus of you to be heard, to speak up, to speak loud. Just bask in the light of it. While I stop speaking, but you remain seated with your eyes closed in silence for a minute more. And when I speak again, you'll be able to open your eyes, but just for now, bask in the newness of the light. In that short minute, just gently take your time as you open your eyes.
Come on. Whoa. Thanks for joining me.
They get too comfortable, the dogs.
Funny how they knew that I'd sat down, isn't it? Because we did it all so quietly, and they are good there. They're like little hot water bottles. They're great. Oh, Sheila, that was lovely. You're so good at that. It's really fabulous. I don't know how you do it, but your skill at putting all the words together. Yeah, it's a real skill. It's a real skill that you have. It's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. And yeah, it's been one of the best choices I ever made was choosing to work this way.
Yeah, it suits you. It's definitely your style of working, and that's probably why you're so good at it.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense to you.
Yeah. Play to your strengths. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So you can look up that song. In fact, I want to look it up now. Now it's come back to mind because I can't remember what it sounds like.
Right, see if you can find it. I'm going to look up on my. I don't remember it, but maybe I'll hear it and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's the song.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Yeah, Number 9 Dream.
You got it?
No, hang on. Let me. I have so many windows open. Everything takes the.
Okay.
Have you got it?
Yeah. Hang on.
Is that you or me?
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yes. Of course I know it. I just didn't know that's what it's called. Okay, so no, now we need to find. Never knew that's what it was called. So I've got the lyrics.
They probably have no meaning at all.
No, gosh, you should see the chorus.
Oh, really?
Written down. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's quite. Yeah, it's quite funny when you look down.
I've forgotten that. Yeah.
Oh, waka waka pussy, or whatever that is. All right. Hey, listen. Who knows? It was worth a shot. Maybe it's all going to come back to me. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Have a lovely weekend, and I'll speak to you Tuesday at 4 o'clock, not at 10.
Well, you never know.
I sat down today. I was here because I wanted to journal a bit at about 10 to 10, and then I had to just double check myself. I thought, it is 10, isn't it? Or it's not 4 now. You know, yeah, it's just silly.
I did.
No,
Yeah.
No, it's 4.
I did have a moment of thinking, I wonder if, you know, because your brain does that, doesn't it? Whether it's now switched into today is 4 and you've got to do a whole reset. So yeah.
I wanted to ask a favor. I've been writing in this journal every day, but I'm going to get to the end before I finish with you.
Yeah.
Have you got another one, or can you tell me where they come from so I can get one?
I can. Yes, I will find out.
Will you send me a link?
Yeah, I'll send you the link. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I want to use that for all the time that we're together. It makes sense to me. So yeah. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, good.
Thank you. All right. Super happy Friday. I'm going to take the dogs for a long walk now before I start work.
Lovely.
And I'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
All right, Shirley. Thanks. Bye.